A couple weeks ago, Falcon left a comment on one of my videos, and he said, talk about the difference between being religious and being spiritual. I don't know about you, but that's the kind of thing I hear people say often is, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. And I always wonder, what do they really mean by that? What is the difference between being religious and being spiritual? So I think that I wanted to explore that idea a little bit. At the end of the day, when I think about it, what I think people mean when they say that is they want to have this idea that they're connected to God or the universe or some sort of reality beyond themselves, which that would make them spiritual. But at the same time, they don't want anyone or anything telling them how to live their lives. So they all hate institutionalized religion. I love that one. I hate institutionalized religion or organized religion. So people basically who claim to be spiritual but not religious, they want to create for themselves in reality their own religion. So what they do is they decide, I'm going to formulate my own beliefs, my own opinions about God or the world or the universe, whatever it might be, how I should live my life, the way other people should live, and what I should do. And typically it's very individualistic. So they don't want anyone else telling them anything. And, I understand that because, especially in our culture here in the United States, we're addicted to really two things. We're addicted to the idea that we are free to choose whatever we want, and we're addicted to the idea that we're individuals and that's what matters. So a lot of people who deep in their heart, they know that there's a God. They know that they weren't just the result of some cosmic accident. They know there's more to life than just the material that we all exist in, but they're not ready to submit control of their lives to God or to anyone really. So in order to have this idea of spirituality, it just simply means that I believe in something bigger than myself, but I can decide what that is and what that isn't. And I think that's really ultimately what people mean when they say I'm spiritual but not religious. Now let's flip that around for a second and let's talk about what it means to be religious but not spiritual. So religion, the word religion literally means to relink. It means to take yourself and link yourself with God. And the way that we do that, through all of human history, there's different religions, different methods and ideas of how all of that goes together, usually through some sort of belief and then some sort of behavior. Well, according to Christianity, there's a different scenario. You see, every other religion in the world is all about what humanity has to do to reach out to God. We have to think a certain way, behave a certain way, do all these things. And that's great. Christianity is different in the aspect that the heart of the gospel is that God came down from heaven and God did the work of relinking with humanity in the incarnation of Jesus Christ. And through his life, death, and resurrection, God has done the work of relinking humanity with himself. So there's that idea. But that doesn't mean that human beings simply have no part to play. That means that we've been given the grace by God to walk in relationship with Jesus, but we actually have to do the work of walking with Jesus in relationship. And I know that's another topic for another video, but really the idea being a lot of people want to just do what they think the religious work is in terms of going to church or giving money or saying prayers or doing these things, but their spirit is disconnected from that. So in some ways, they're going through the motions, and people accuse Catholics of this type of thing all the time because they say, well, Catholics pray with vain repetitions or whatever. And Jesus talked about vain repetitions. Well, yeah, that might be true. There might be some Catholics that do that, just like there might be some Protestants that do that too. The idea is something that goes deeper than Catholic or Protestant. The idea is that what we do with our religion, with our beliefs and our behaviors, they have to be connected to our spirit. We can't just do these religious things without having our spirit connected to it. That's why God said the most important commandment is love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all your strength. You see, God isn't just interested in you or me performing some religious duty. He's interested in every part of us. Now, consequently, he's not just interested in, our so-called spirituality either. He wants all of us. He wants our beliefs, he wants our behaviors, but most importantly, he wants all of our hearts as well. So whatever we do, those two things have to be connected. So sometimes we see people who say, well, I'm spiritual but not religious because they don't want anybody controlling them. And other times, if we're honest, especially for us Christians who've lived in the church for a long time, we can sometimes fall into this trap of being religious but not spiritual. And really, the gospel is the antidote to that, because the gospel shows us that Christ died for us, that he did the work of relinking, but yet now he invites us into this relationship with him that goes far beyond just the duties that we might perform. It's a relationship that transforms us from the inside out, all the way through. So really, the idea is to be both religious and spiritual. Now, if you're like me, you haven't got that nailed down completely. There are days where I find myself to be more religious than spiritual, when I find myself just in my prayers, just going through the motions, and I have to check myself on that. And then there are other days where I find myself more concerned about what I feel or what I want in my spirit, but I'm not so excited about what God would have me do, and I can find myself being spiritual and not religious. It's a trap that we fall into all the time. So I want you to think about, which one of those traps are you more prone to fall into? Do you find yourself more having struggles doing the things you're supposed to do, or do you find yourself having more struggles giving your heart over to Jesus? It's the daily walk that goes into becoming a Christian. And I'm so thankful that, in my newfound Catholic faith, I find there to be so many resources available to me to help me with both of these things, with the prayers and the liturgy and the devotions and the sacraments. All of that stuff is helping me to connect to God in a deeper way in my heart than I ever thought possible. So I know that's where I'm coming from, and I want to thank you for making that comment, Falcon. Anybody else has any other opinions on this? Feel free to drop a comment in the box below, and we'll have a conversation. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. God bless.